Dr. Lisa Beth Hill is a native of New Haven, Connecticut. She's an historian whose primary research fields are women's studies, African American history, race, class, and gender, the Civil War, civil rights, civil liberties, and public history, particularly African diaspora. Dr. Hill received her PhD from Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia in 1999. She's formerly a tenured professor at the University of Maryland. Her current research focuses on emancipated African Americans in the New Haven, Connecticut area during the Reconstruction era with an emphasis upon women's activism. Prior to her appointment as interim dean of the College of Arts and Sciences in this past summer, she served as the department chair of history and political science here at Tuskegee University, beginning in fall 2011. She also served as the vice chair of history and government at the University of Maryland University between 2007 and 2011. She has recently revived her edited volume, which was titled The African American Reader, which was released in spring 2013. She's been happily married to her husband, George Lyons, who's a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. She's a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta. And also, she has adopted many students over her years. Lastly, she will be very much instrumental at this institution in putting the A in STEM at the institution so that we as a whole can have STEAM. It is my honor and my pleasure to introduce Dr. Lisa Beth Hill.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming out to hear me this morning. I must first thank Dr. Brian Lamont Johnson, the 7th president of Tuskegee University, for inviting me to speak this morning. I was surprised, humbled, and very much honored to have been asked to address this audience. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. The other evening, I had the opportunity to meet many parents who were excited to have their children attend this esteemed university. Many of the parents are second and third generation Tuskegeans. For example, Mr. Kippy Tate made it very clear his son is attending this university as a 4th generation Tuskegean. He also stated his younger son, who is currently in the 10th grade, has no other choice than to also attend this university. That type of pride in one's school is not easy to come by. Yet, throughout my travels, I have always heard of the special quality of Tuskegee. It is more than a university. It truly is a family. Before I begin my talk, I thought I should address the picture of me on the website. More than a few people have asked if I have tattoos. The answer is an unequivocal no. What you see is a blouse that has a fine paisley print. I have no markings on my skin aside from scrapes and bruises I received from childhood falls and tumbles, and most recently, laparoscopic surgery on my right arm. Over the past few weeks, I have given much thought as to what I should say today. I struggled with the opening lines, the body of the speech, and of course, the wonderful, resonating conclusion that will make you rise to your feet and clap with enthusiasm. Aside from that, as I came to really think about how to approach this, I understood this as a rather lengthy program, and I do not want my portion of it to be the lengthiest part. With that in mind, I will be as concise as possible, and hopefully what I have to say will make sense and perhaps may even make a difference in how you view ways to achieve your goals. There is an old joke that asks, what do you call the person who graduated last in his or her medical school class? The answer? Doctor. doctor. Okay? Whether you graduated as number 1 or number 100, you achieved success in what you have set out to do. Clearly, student number 100 had to work much harder and longer than students 1 through 20, 1 through 50, and even 1 through 90, and let's not forget poor student 99. But the student passed nonetheless. The perseverance of those who experience difficulties and bumps along the way is what truly counts as success. When I was growing up in the Washington, D.C. area, the most popular DJ was Donnie Simpson, also known as the Green-Eyed Bandit, because of his sultry green eyes and smooth as velvet voice. Those of you who are over 40 probably remember him. If you are too young to know of him firsthand, watch some old clips of BET. I know they still run them. At the end of each show, he would say, "Shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll be among the stars." I loved to hear him say that because it made me feel as if I could achieve anything I set my mind to. What Donnie Simpson said each morning was my way of starting the day on a positive note. Some mornings, as I was getting ready for school, I was angry with my sister for leaving the bathroom a mess. Although I was sometimes in an irritable mood, I would listen to his encouraging words as a balm that was soothing and refreshing. From my time as a junior high school student up to my time in graduate school, his words kept me grounded and very much enthused. To tell the truth, I have not been outside of a school since I was 3 years old. Clearly, I love being in academia, but do not get me wrong, it was not always easy, and at one point, it was not my first choice. I do not want this speech to be all about me. However, I thought I could use my story as an example of how the best laid plans can change, and oftentimes for the better when we least expect it. My upbringing was one of achievement, not just because most of my family members were college educated and successful, but because I also saw how hard work, despite one's circumstance of birth, yielded some measure of success and fulfillment. You are looking at someone who, as an undergraduate, did the following: changed majors 3 or 4 times, including French, food science, American studies, and history. Pledged a sorority, served as parliamentarian for the Pan-Hellenic Association, served as a leader for our sorority's Girl Scout chapter, was chosen by University of Maryland's president, Dr. John Slaughter, to serve as a presidential student leader, worked for a public interest research group headed by Ralph Nader, protested against apartheid, worked for Agricultural Day with the chickens each year, delivered food to the less fortunate at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and here's the big drum roll, worked at the National Institutes of Health, National Library of Medicine, assembling personal computers. Clearly, I occupied myself with many curricular and extracurricular activities as an undergraduate. By the time I entered graduate school, I had extracted just about all I could from my undergraduate days, and that is a good thing because graduate school was the beginning of my 4-year tenure as a hermit. What did I want to do? If I had not been accepted to graduate school, I was going to try my hand at voice characterizations in Hollywood. I had set up a meeting with Mrs. Jean McCurdy, the premier voice casting director for Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I was going to make a tape, yes, it was a tape back in the 90s, of Otto the Orange, Tommy the Tomato, and Kippy the Kumquat. You may have noticed a distinct fruit-vegetable theme in the names of the characters. But remember, at one point I was a food science major. So when my acceptance letter from Emory University arrived, I decided to pursue graduate studies and put my non-existent Hollywood career on hold for a while. But understand, there were points in my graduate school days I simply wanted to leave. My first semester was truly one from hell. Seriously, I had 4 classes with the professors who were known to be the toughest, most demanding on campus. Lucky me, I managed to get all 4 of them at once. What I can remember most about that semester is my advisor, the late Dr. Elizabeth Fox Genovese, lovingly known as Betsy to her students, telling me, no matter how good you are, someone is always going to be better and someone is always going to be worse. So be sure to always do your best regardless of what position that holds at the moment. Clearly, all of you have done well to receive these honors today. However, I want you to know that I take great pride in addressing you because I have taught a number of you during my career here at TU. I have watched many of you struggle at times, but you have managed to pull it together and live up to what is expected of a Tuskegee University scholar. Some of you have even lost your scholarships for a while, but worked hard enough to regain them. That is most commendable. Again, sometimes being number 1 is not always a given that you will be successful, or that will be a clear indicator of how successful you will be in life. I am here today not just to encourage you to do your best, but to understand that at the times you may not do your best for whatever reasons, you can rebound and make progress. Also, bear in mind that life in general, but academic life in particular, is not always so easy to plan and navigate. True, we give you curriculum balance sheets which we think are flawless or foolproof. Yet, every year, it comes down to that 1 or 2 or 3 credits you forgot you needed to walk across that stage. I cannot tell you how many times I and my compatriot, Dr. Joe Jemme, have been on our knees first to pray for our students and then again to beg for help for our students. What I am trying to say to you is you do not walk this journey alone. Your parents, your professors, your advisors, staff members, and even your peers are instrumental in helping you be successful in this very important walk of your life. You will make mistakes, as we all do. However, it is the person who learns from those mistakes and uses those lessons learned to better him or herself that always sets him or her apart from the masses. Your achievements that are being recognized today are indicative of your stick-to-itiveness and your focus. You have made yourselves proud, and your parents are certainly beaming with pride. Sometimes success looks much different than how we imagine. As much as I would like to say I am a successful person, I also realize I am only as successful as I think of myself as being such. Before I finish this talk, I want to share something about Donnie Simpson. If you were listening at the beginning, he is the DJ who inspired me. That was a pop quiz. Seriously, about 4 years ago, my husband and I were in Tyson's Corner Mall in Northern Virginia on a shopping spree for my birthday. I was trying on some adorable red pumps when my husband came and said casually, "I just saw Donnie Simpson." I ran out of the store with one shoe on and one shoe off and literally crashed into Mr. Simpson. I hurriedly told him what a fan I had been. I loved him. I was just so anxious and excited to meet him, and that it was my birthday. He said, "Happy birthday, Lisa." He let me take a picture with him, and I felt as if I had truly died and gone to heaven. He was so nice. And I told him how his sign-off for nearly 10 years helped make my day, and I believe had something to do with shaping my future career. He was so humble, and he thanked me profusely. I think at that point, my gushing was embarrassing my husband, so I hugged him and left. What a birthday. I felt I had come full circle in a way, because one of the people who inspired me so much was also a very kind and caring man. I decided to use some quotations from famous people to round out this speech. These folks had some magnificent thoughts on life. They are making points on motivation and achievement that appeal to your hearing and demand your consumption. These are also people who became famous without necessarily seeking it. Give a listen to a few. Famed poet Langston Hughes once stated, quote, "I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go if you really want to go," end quote. The late theologian and psychologist Norman Vincent Peale championed, quote, "Believe in yourself, have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy," unquote. Saintly Mother Teresa of Calcutta urged, quote, "Reach high, for stars lie hidden in your soul. Dream deep, for every dream precedes the goal," unquote. She also said, "One of the greatest diseases is to be nobody to anybody." Notasulga native and inimitable folklorist and writer Zora Neale Hurston declared, quote, "Once you wake up thought in a man, you can never put it to sleep again," end quote. The renowned bard of Stratford-on-Avon, William Shakespeare, claimed, "It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves." He also wrote, "Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them." With that last quotation in mind, I will share one from Dr. Brian Johnson I wrote in my notes from a meeting last week. Dr. Johnson said, quote, "I am a man of success, and I will be successful," end quote. My entire career as an educator has been devoted to being a good scholar and to serve as a role model for my students. You never know what impact you may have on someone, especially in these formative years. I'd like to share a few sage words from Dr. Seuss's "Oh, the Places You Will Go." Dr. Seuss quipped, "You'll look up and down streets, look 'em over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not-so-good street. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with some strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact. And remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. So, be your name Buxbaum or Bixby or Bray or Mordecai Alley Van Allen O'Shea, you're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. So, what is the takeaway from this? Do your work, do it well, be kind to others, and of course, as Mr. Simpson said for so many years, shoot for the moon, for even if you miss, you will be among the stars. Thank you.